Howdy there. I'm Dr. Michael Ferguson, and I'm a cognitive neuroscientist at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center at Harvard Medical School. I'm here to guide you through the Unconditional Family Curriculum. Unconditional Family is a project sponsored by Peculiar, a nonprofit supporting LGBTQ individuals and their families. The Unconditional Family Curriculum will guide you through medical science, social science, and spirituality studies in a triple combination that will help to encourage love, compassion, empathy, empowerment, forgiveness, and stable family structures that are essential for the flourishing and the well-being of LGBTQ+ individuals and their families. So let's focus on empathy. What exactly is empathy? It's a word that we hear a lot. We use it in our common parlance, but it's got some pretty specific definitions if you're looking at it scientifically. Empathy is the visceral experience of another person's thoughts and feelings from their own point of view, rather than from your point of view. So what constitutes empathy? Social scientists think about empathy as being constituted from at least two distinct sets of components: cognitive components and affective components. Cognitive components of empathy are comprised of our thoughts about the other person's view. These include language, logic, and that which we use to reason about what the other person might be thinking. Affective components of empathy are our feelings, mirroring the feelings of another person. It's our emotional imagination applied to intuit another's internal emotional state. In the typical development of empathy, humans start to experience empathic responses after birth. Empathy is a spontaneous, two-way interaction between a parent and their child. For example, if babies see their caregivers smile, they themselves are more likely to smile. And if babies see their caregivers express fear, then the babies themselves are more likely to feel fear. If parents hear their babies crying, then the parents are more likely to feel distress. And if parents hear their babies laughing, then they themselves are more likely to feel joy. In the context of a secure relationship attachment, empathy allows us to achieve emotional resonance with another person. So let's talk about that word resonance and what it means. Here's a video demonstration that'll give us a physics understanding of resonance, and we're going to build from there.
We're going to demonstrate resonance. Things don't shake on your old 55 Ford or with the bag unless the frequency matches the natural frequency of vibration. And so if I go too slow, then I'm not going to match the natural frequency of vibration of this ball attached to the surgical tubing. Likewise, if I go too fast, I'm not matching the frequency either. But if I find that place where the motion of my arm matches the actual, see if I can hit Parker. Yeah, maybe not. Matches the natural frequency of vibration, then I get a large amplitude of motion. That's what happens in organ pipes and on violins and all musical instruments when that frequency matches the natural resonant frequency of the instrument.
Emotional resonance, then, is when the feelings and the goals of two or more people are synchronized in a way that amplifies the emotion. When we experience emotional resonance, we feel seen, heard, and understood. Emotional resonance is a key principle for empowerment. A Swedish proverb states that a joy shared is a double joy, and that a sorrow shared is a half sorrow. Let's reflect then. Is there a particular time when you felt emotional resonance with another person? Is there a particular time when you felt emotional resonance with a group? How did the experience of emotional resonance make you feel? Go ahead and stop the video now if you'd like, and think about this on your own, or if you're watching this with a group, discuss these questions with one another. Let's reflect on another set of questions. What does the absence of emotional resonance feel like? And what do you think the absence of emotional resonance can lead to? Go ahead and stop the video again and think about these questions, or talk about them if you're watching with a group. Let's bring in neuroscience now and talk about the way that the human brain experiences empathy. It turns out that in humans, there is a reverberating circuit that generates emotional resonance between people. This circuit is known as the default mode network. The default mode network integrates cognitive information from the prefrontal cortex of the brain with affective information from the limbic system of the brain. The functions of the default mode network are classified generally as mental simulations, and these include things like memories, imagining the future, and empathizing with another person. When we're mentally simulating the internal state of someone else, that's the basis for empathy. There's cutting-edge findings from the emerging field of neurospirituality indicating that mystical experiences actually stimulate default mode network functions. In other words, mystical experiences may prime us to be more empathetic with the people around us. On the flip side, emerging data from neurospirituality indicate that practicing empathy may help to facilitate spiritual and mystical experiences, since mysticism and empathy co-localize to a common brain circuit. In other words, if a person is experiencing spiritual dryness, then cultivating an empathy practice may help them to experience more abundant spiritual consolations. Let's reflect again. Have you ever had an experience that seemed mystical or spiritual? Did this experience impact the way that you felt about or related to other people? Once again, go ahead and pause the video and contemplate these questions, or if you're with a group, talk about them with each other. So let's review. Empathy is the visceral experience of another person's point of view. Empathy consists of both the cognitive or the thinking and the affective or the feeling components of mental simulation. Empathy allows us to achieve emotional resonance with others. Emerging scientific data indicate that spirituality may help to boost empathy. So what about when empathy is broken? The breakdown, loss, or malfunction of empathy is one of the primary causes of sociopathy. Independently, a breakdown in giving and receiving empathy can worsen feelings of social isolation and chronic loneliness. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most influential texts of India, the concept of Atma Apamyena describes the crux of Eastern thought. It means to see others as oneself, and it's considered an exalted state where there is true equality of vision for all living beings, especially for other humans. This oneness is at the heart of an Eastern concept of enlightenment and can be achieved by anyone through active belief and practice. Emerging social science research conducted in 2019 by the Trevor Project indicates that if LGBTQ+ youth have even just one affirming adult in their lives, that youth's risk for suicide decreases by 40%. Let's reflect one more time. Does it surprise you that empathy is identified as a spiritual virtue across cultures and times? Are there people with whom you have difficulty empathizing? How would the world be different with more empathy in it? How would your life be different with more empathy in it? Who else's life could be different because of your empathy? Go ahead and pause here, contemplate these questions, or discuss them with other people. Let's close out with a few mantras and meditations to really help absorb the information that we've been discussing. Feel free to repeat these out loud if you're comfortable, or to just contemplate them in your mind. I am a being with deep capacity for empathy. My empathy is a gift to myself and others. My empathy is a gift to the world. My empathy connects me to my highest humanity. For further reading, go to our website, unconditionalfamily.org. We'll have these slides posted there, along with additional readings for you to deepen your understanding medically, socially, and spiritually about the principle of empathy.
And her daughter, the earth.